Welcome everyone to our first episode of the podcast series I'm going to start. Today we have a very special guest. Pandey, don't laugh. Yeah, today we have a very special guest with us. He is my batchmate. We met for the first time in 2014 in BITS Pilani. He came to study computer science. I was an electronic student. He thought we were both gonna be studious, but it turned out to be poles apart. So yeah, he was the kind of personality who was pro academics, would spend most of his time in studying stuff and what would help him solely in his career. And then now we have seen him evolve into a person who learned to balance a lot of things. Like there has been a drastic personality evolution which we have observed and got inspired from as well. And yeah, to put it in one line, this is a guy who went from solving equations to solving the actual challenges of life and balancing everything out. So we very incredibly excitedly welcome you here, Prashant Pandey. How do you feel?
Thanks, Anisha, for the generous introduction. Yeah, you said we were poles apart, but what kind of poles? What pole were you?
You
Yeah,
were very
but
sincere. I was messing up in all my grades.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, no, but yeah, I mean, we go back almost 10 years now. I recall the very first time I saw Taneja in, I think it was Parva's room in CS3,
Yeah.
and there was always a kind of comfort zone around him. Although we did not interact much in college, he was a part of some very cool groups which I could not get into. But
Yeah, yeah.
uh, but yeah, after college we kind of kept in touch through WhatsApp groups and all, and it has kind of flourished. Definitely the comfort level has increased, and yeah.
Yeah, and not to mention last year the Europe trip which we had, which had been a
Yeah.
dream for a lot of people from them. But yeah,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
okay,
yeah.
so proceeding into the interview, yeah, this was the most which I had talked. The stage is going to be yours, so I would just introduce the audience to what exactly we are going to be talking about. It's although he has a lot of experiences to share in a lot of themes in life, but in this particular video, we are going to be talking about body transformation and like taking it one level ahead, actually personality transformation, changing perspectives and stuff. And yeah, so I guess we can start with the background of yours, how you started, like so the people get to know you better. Let's start from school time, the kind of person you were, the kind of perspective you had, and then how you progress in your career, how your perspectives changed. And yeah.
Hmm. Yeah, thanks, Abhinav. So basically, in school, I was always the studious kind, right? So I was in a convent school till 10th grade. Was always I topped the school as well. Then 11th, 12th. Yeah, I mean, I managed to be in the top three. So always, it's the typical middle class thing. Came from a background of engineers. My dad, he was very enthusiastic about science and mathematics. Uh, so 11th, 12th again, prepared for JEE, could not get into a good IIT, right? So the
But you
second best
did
option
have,
was BITS.
but you did have a good rank, I remember. I mean, you.
I mean, I had a rank around 7,000.
Okay.
So yeah, actually the story is quite fascinating. I almost went into NIT Allahabad, right? So while I was traveling to BITS Goa, right, I got the news that I got into NIT Allahabad, and it's a pretty decent college. The fees compared to BITS Goa, it's quite less, right? So I alighted at the Vadodara station. I changed the platform. I was like, okay, let's catch a train back to Delhi. And as soon as the train to Goa Express it started to move, we ran back, my dad and I, and that's how I ended up at BITSCOA. But one of the best decisions of my life, BITSCOA, right? I had a chance to go to an option to go to BITS, the Pilani campus as well. But I have no regrets choosing Goa over Pilani. An absolutely fantastic uh, college life. They were not very eventful, I would say, but 4 years again tried to kind of get good grades, the typical stuff, right? Missed out on a lot of things. I'll be honest here.
Um,
Uh,
yeah, I just wanted to interrupt you. It would not be right to say not very eventful, because you can also count, like you can also measure it being eventful in the terms of the kind of new things you experience, even though if it was in terms of academics, or I know you found out those flight simulators and stuff interesting, which we missed out on. So yeah, it's just what colors you choose into your palette. So
Yeah, that's very well put. So yeah, 4 years, watched a lot of movies. I at one point was watching a lot of German movies, a lot of regional cinema, Bengali movies, Assamese movies, right? Uh, Played a lot of flight simulation. Did a lot of flight simulation. Flying a plane from San Francisco to New Delhi, and it's an actual simulation. So it actually takes around 14 hours to fly from San Francisco to New Delhi. So I would actually fly the plane for 14 hours, go to bed, go to the mess, come back. So
okay,
yeah,
okay.
I had all the flight checklists. So quite a nerdy phase. 4 years went by. I did not end up with a great CGPA. I had a CGPA of around 8, right? Kind of, and
So
that too because I scored pretty decently in the.
let me hold the audience here. A CGPA of 8 is known in the great band itself in bits. Like not a lot of people cross the mark of 8, so he's just being modest here. Of course, like having nines and tens are even better, but he was very good at what he was doing. I won't share my CGPA here, even though it's contrasting. Thing.
Yeah,
Yeah,
definitely. Yeah, let's move past this.
yeah.
But 4 years went by. I interned at Amazon for 6 months for PS2. Out of 19 people, I was the only person who did not end up with a PPO, a pre-placement offer. 19 people, 18 got a pre-placement offer. I did not, and that hurt like a real bitch. I'll be honest here. And I had not even registered for placements back at campus because I was so confident I would get a PPO. Why I did not get a PPO, that's a long story to share, so I'm going to skip it. But I registered for placements. I think I had already crossed the deadline, but the person who was overlooking the placement, he was a friend, so he kind of registered. I think I got placed at day 2 or 3 with Tesco. So Tesco was not a tier one firm, colloquially speaking, right? But I would say my tenure at Tesco, which lasted for around 2 years and 8 months, it was one of the most satiating times of my professional life, right? I had an excellent mentor, and I really kind of I was someone who would stay back studying things. So I primarily work with Java based systems. So I would sit down and study the JVM code, right, which is quite complicated. So very enthusiastic about what I was doing, and I still am. But 3 4 years back, I was like really into what I was doing. Concurrency, multi-threading. I used to write blocks,
Like
right, a
solely
lot of
into that.
things.
You were not spending time
Solely into that,
outside of that.
exactly. Absolutely not. I was in Bangalore. I would mostly work for 5 days a week, and then over the weekend I was study, right?
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't in touch with many of my friends. My very good friend at that time, Kushagri, he was in Australia, so we would just connect occasionally. I was in touch with Abhinav as well that much. So I think in 2019 we created a WhatsApp group that for interviewing and all, and Taneja, Utkarsh, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, you, Bharat, and I, right? We were a part of that group, and that's how we kind of started to interact much more. So COVID happened. I came back to Delhi, NCR, switched companies. I started working for Razorpay, uh, and I kind of honestly I kind of struggled because Razorpay was a startup and Tesco was a typical enterprise, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, so Razorpay was an entirely different ball game. Uh, it was tough the initial months because working for a startup has its own challenges. I kind of settled in, and again,
Yeah.
2 years at Razorpay, kind of got promoted to a tech lead. So career-wise, it has always been pretty balanced for me. No hiccups, no layoffs or any critical reviews on my performance.
Yeah, also,
That
just
happened.
to, sorry to interrupt, just to tell the audience that in Razorpay, we
Mhm.
joined together, almost together, and we were working, although in the different teams, but yeah, we used to interact a lot
Mhm.
with Razorpay as well.
You joined in March, I recall, and I joined in May.
April.
So,
Yeah.
April, yeah, okay. So it was a very satiating time again. Razorpay was a very fulfilling career. I switched last year again to Startree. Startree is a company that I have worked with for a long time. They make databases. They're like Confluent, so it has been going pretty well. So about the transformation, colloquially speaking, right? it started towards the end of 2021. And what triggered is, believe it or not, our very dear friend Bharat, right? So Bharat had started to work out back in Cult, back in Bangalore at Cult, right? And he left it in like 2 months. He kind of went back to his normal life, but that
Oh.
really motivated. I was like, okay, yeah. So Bharat doesn't know this, you know. I hope he sees this. Yeah.
Yeah.
So this was a triggering point, and then a very conspicuous event. I bought a pair of very nice jackets, right? A very expensive pair of jackets, but I wore them and wasn't feeling that good. I was like, okay, they look normal. And I figured out it was because my body was out of proportion. I wasn't fit, right? So that was something. I looked at my forearms, they were skinny as fuck. I was like, okay, dude, let's do something about it. And April 14th, my birthday, 2022, I just went to a nearby gym. I enrolled and I just kept at it for like 1 month, and that's how it started. So this has
Okay.
been the journey mostly.
Okay. Yep. Sounds pretty dense. Actually, very
Yeah,
dense.
it has been. Yeah.
Yeah, and if you have to draw the contrast between what kind of interests you had when we met, let's say 10 years ago, 5 years ago, and what kind of interests you are having right now, what's the contrast there?
The contrast is quite substantial. So 10 years back, I was a pretty nerdy kid. I used to love reading about any stuff, anything, right? Trains, aeroplanes, whatever, right? Pretty introverted guy, did not have many friends,
Mm-hmm.
and a bit obnoxious, to be honest, because I was a typical know-it-all guy, who would interrupt you that, okay, this is so very.
I
I
can
was
relate to
into
that. Yeah.
technicalities. Yeah, yeah,
Mm.
definitely. I would, live by technicalities, right? Okay,
Mhm.
technically you are wrong, right? So they didn't help anyone, but I used to feel good about myself. So I guess it was more about me than anyone else. Correcting people, I used to correct people a lot. Looking back at it, some aspects of my personality were not that pleasant, quite obnoxious, as I said. Now I have become very extroverted. I am okay approaching people. I don't feel anxious. I used to be a very anxious person back then. I have learned to keep my mouth shut and listen to people, not try to relate to them all the time, not try to correct them, and not give them any advice unless they really ask for it. I have just so yeah. I think I can definitely say that it has been a progress in the positive side. I'm much happier now, right?
Yeah.
uh, 10 years back, I was very particular about, okay, I have to make a difference to the world. I have to do my PhD, create some new knowledge, right? I was not okay being ordinary. Right now, I'm very much comfortable being ordinary as long as I'm happy and I spread happiness to people
Yeah.
around me.
Yeah, I mean, I agree to that, and I have felt that as well myself. Like through the course of time, I've known you. In general, I always enjoyed spending time around you because your correcting habit would I would enjoy as well because I was learn something out of it. A lot of times you irritated me because we had some arguments and stuff. But now, the kind of person you have been evolved into, it's like it's. It's easy to be around you and enjoy your time and it's a bit more relaxed and yeah, as you said, we are so much into that thing that we do not want to be ordinary, but especially in India, the hustle culture has picked up so much after 2019 at least, that people forgot that when actually you hit a milestone in life, you have the basic things sorted out. You should learn to celebrate it and enjoy it. Very few people know how to do that and the importance of doing that. And yeah, I've seen you inculcate that thing into your personality and learned a lot of things from it as well, personally myself. So yeah, pretty
Yeah,
good.
yeah, totally. I,
You've
I
done.
think I need to mention this, what you just said. I'll just elaborate that once the basic necessities of life are sorted out, and this is very crucial, at least in my case. So when I started working, money has always been an issue with us, right? And when I started working, we started earning good, right? Once we sorted out the basic things, right? Then I think after that, I got this, I don't know, renaissance that, now it's time to kind of enjoy the fruits as well. We have worked so hard for the past
Yeah.
15, 20 years. So I'm not shy or ashamed of, spending my money now, right? It's, splurging my money or even wasting my money, if I may,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we need to cut ourselves some slack, that it's okay to waste money, just lose money, not just chase numbers all the time. There's
Waste
nothing
time as
wrong in
well.
that.
Waste time as
Waste time
well.
as well. Absolutely. Absolutely. Now I feel I don't have to be productive all the time. It's okay to be in bed. It's okay to just loiter around, just date people, right? Meet people, just waste time. It's okay. I mean,
Yeah.
for me, it's okay. So that's just how I try to live life now.
Yeah, so people would have gotten a fair idea of how you evolved as a person, as a personality. Now, talking specifically about the body transformation, the fitness regime journey which you brought into life. What kind of body did you have? Like, I'll you can share the pics. I'll put them on the video. But to describe what kind of body did you have, how you felt back then, and how the journey has been, like how you changed into, did you have a goal in mind, did you just wanted to make your life a bit more let's say less sedentary and more active lifestyle adoption? Yeah, tell us about that, please.
Mhm. Yep. So I joined the gym back in April 2022. The goal, I already mentioned the trigger points, right? So I was never a person who was very much into active lifestyle, that I have to be healthy or not, or something like that. Uh, it might sound a bit shallow, but I just wanted to look good. Okay, and I wanted to look good because life before 2022 had been a life full of anxiety, self doubt, insecurities, no attention from people, right? Uh, you know, I've never had a proper girlfriend before 2021, right? If I may. So I just wanted to look good.
Mhm.
I had a goal in mind. So if you have looked at Brad Pitt in Fight Club, I wanted to look like him. Uh, so yeah, I just joined the gym back in 2022 in April on my birthday. Kept at it for 30 days. And I would just go to the gym, just do push-ups. I was very good at push-ups. I was able to do quite a lot of push-ups even back then.
How much did you start
Uh,
with? How much push-ups?
So I could easily do around 40 push-ups back then. So it has always been my strength because I was pretty skinny, right? So it helps. Now actually my push-ups have come down to around 30 or 25 because I have developed some muscle. But back then doing push-ups or pull-ups, it's relatively easier, right?
But
So I've always been.
it's fair to note that you were actually doing push-ups regularly, even not going to gym. I remember you
Yes,
used to do it
yes.
in your room as well. Like 40 is actually a good number. Even if you're skinny, you need those muscles around here to yeah, give you that number. So yeah.
Yeah. So push-up actually is a compound exercise. So it trains multiple muscles at once, right? Your shoulders, your chest. Primarily, we do it for the chest, but it also trains your shoulders to some extent, right?
Mhm.
So I've seen people who struggle with 5, and I've seen people who are very comfortable with doing 30, right? So there's no specific number as such.
Yeah.
But if you're doing push-ups to develop some muscle, some amount of muscle, right? Just make sure you train till you really feel it, right? Where you're not able to do anymore. So if you're able to do 20, right? So once a week, try to hit 22, right? So kind of challenge that number. So that's how it will be. Otherwise, just doing it regularly, if you're able to do 20 and you just keep on doing 20 or 15, right?
You stay there.
uh, yeah, so it will just stay there. You won't develop much muscle, right? So
Mhm.
uh, yeah, that's how it started. So I was always into pull-ups and push-ups. I was doing it in my room. uh, when I joined the gym, so I started with these. I wasn't very comfortable with the machines and the dumbbells.
Mhm.
1 month it was a total kind of ruckus, right? What I was doing, not very structured.
Yeah, on the same lines, did you have a proper guidance? Like, did you, if not a personal trainer, was there a trainer who actually corrected your posture and told you how to structure your workouts? Did you have that luxury?
Mm, So I had joined a local gym, which was very close by to my house. And if you know anything about local gyms, the trainers don't give a fuck about you unless you go for personal training,
I
right?
don't know anything about gyms.
So, well, I mean, now you're in Germany, but in India, this is the story pretty much
Yeah.
everywhere. So he would initially, I asked him what exercises should I do. So he gave me the regular regimen, right? Start with the normal cardio, do your weight training for some time.
Mhm.
I would just ask him what exercise to do now, right? He would just tell me, but he would never explicitly correct my posture, right? Unless you are about to injure yourself, then he would come, but normally they don't really care about it. So 1 month I was doing random exercises, curls or pull downs, whatever, in totally incorrect form. 1 month into the training, I met this really nice guy, and he asked me to spot him, and I spotted him. And then he observed that, okay, I was doing some random things, and he came to me and he really took his time to kind of guide me. He told me, okay, just try to train one muscle a day. Earlier, I was training all the muscles, right? And that was a really a turning point, and I owe a lot to that guy, right? He did it out of altruism. He saw me struggling, and he helped me.
You
So
still in
I got structure.
Are you still
I'm not. He got married, and yeah, he got
we
married, so
broke
not
up.
in touch with him.
We got married. Stop talking.
We broke up. He got into a new relationship. Yeah, but that's how it started, and then I became regular. I think the number one thing that has really paid off has been consistency, right? I really miss a day at the gym. Even when I was in Germany, right? I made sure last year that I was doing something, right?
Mhm.
You don't have to obsess about it, but when once it becomes a part of a lifestyle,
Right.
it's hard to like go back, right?
Yeah, it's like
Consistency,
in the morning you
yeah,
brush your teeth,
consistency,
and if you
yeah,
don't,
exactly,
it
exactly.
feels
If you
weird.
don't,
Yeah.
yeah, you would know a thing or two about brushing teeth, but
Yeah.
but so I was going to the gym consistently, right? And the beginner gains, they're always pretty quick because you're doing nothing, right? And suddenly you are doing, you are doing some random shit, right? And even then your body would react, your body
Yeah.
would surprise, you would see some gains, and that helps a lot. uh, so consistency has been one thing, and the second thing has always been, I have tried to stick to the basic fundamental principles of bodylifting, of weight training. If you look at Instagram now, and I kind of got into that quagmire myself, uh, working out and the gym has been complicated deliberately, right? They will tell you 10 different variations of an exercise. They will tell you, okay, if you don't do this variation, you are missing out on this. What
Mhm.
no one tells you is that, and it's pretty obvious if you're consistent to the gym, right? uh, no matter how, so look, I mean, there's no particular exercise that will blow up your gains, okay? Let's be honest about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
No variation of bicep curls will blow up your biceps, right? If you're doing the regular fundamental bicep curls consistently, right, it doesn't matter what split you are following, right? You will see gains, right? So consistency and sticking to the basic scientific principles, right? So I was never scared of protein shakes. I've seen a lot of people, they are like so scared that, okay, protein shakes are not natural, they're processed, right? But I was always into, yeah, you were one of them. So I researched on it quite a bit, and I kind of, I bought into the scientific evidence. So I never went by, influencers claiming this is bad, whatever is bad, right? Whatever science claims is true, I do that.
Mm.
And I think it has paid off.
Great. Um, and were there any, because it's a long journey, 2 years, there would have been some challenges, probably some setbacks in midst of this journey for how you would have wanted it to be. So was there something like that, and how did you deal with it, overcome it?
So one common setback is always, there are some periods when you don't feel like going to the gym, right? You will take a break, right? And back in 22 and early 23, I used to get very anxious about these things. Okay, I did not go to the gym for 2 days. Oh my God, I'm losing my gains. Or I did not hit my protein goal for yesterday. Oh my God, I'm going to lose my gains, right? This led to anxiety, which was pretty unhealthy, right? This was I would say the number one setback that everyone faces, right? I've
Mm.
seen people get crazy about, oh, I did not hit my calorie goals yesterday. Now I realize it doesn't really matter if you hit it daily, right? And then, I was someone who traveled to Bangalore quite a bit, right, for my work or to just see my friends or going to weddings, whatever, right? Taking a break in between. So if it's a long break, say it's 15 to 20 days. For example, I was in Europe for 1 month. So how do you manage that, right? You still need to be a bit active, right? Finding the right uh, finding the right food. It's okay if you like, if you are gluttonous for a day, whatever, right? If you feel like having a croissant, by all means, have that. But try to, take have some protein as well. So finding these things, kind of internalizing these concepts, it took some time, right? So
Making it a lifestyle.
mostly these, making it a lifestyle, keeping it sustainable. That is one thing that everyone, I think, struggles with. If you go all guns blazing on fitness, that okay, I will only have 1,000 calories from now on,
Doesn't work.
I will work out daily. it will work for 1 week, 2 weeks, a month. You can't keep it working for 2 to 3 years. You have to keep it sustainable. Understand, if you want to make it a part of your lifestyle, life will happen. Okay, you might meet with an accident. You might not be able to source good protein. You might good nutrition. You might lose your job, whatever. Right?
Yeah.
You don't have to stress about working out. That is very unhealthy. Right? It should only be a source of positive energy for you. That is something I struggled with. Thankfully, I have solved this to a large extent now, but 2 years back, it was a real challenge.
Mm-hmm. And yeah, as we've been talking about the philosophies of working out and how you should be looking at it, one thing would be, if we have to conclude a few points, that the perfectionist perspective actually stalls the progress. That, oh, I might be doing it wrong. Let me research a bit more. Whereas if you're doing it every day and train accordingly, like train your neural network, what went wrong, what didn't, that it's like hundred folds better progress than researching and trying to find the right trainer, exactly right nutrition. Like, just get at it. Applies to every area in the life, not just working out. Working out,
Exactly. Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. If you have to keep it sustainable, you have to get rid of all these theories. People stress so much about, oh, this is plant-based protein, it is not absorbed well in the body, right? Or, oh, is this, they will worry about BCAAs and creatine and stuff, right? Unless you are a professional bodybuilder, the theory is different. I'm not a professional, and none of my advice applies to professionals, right?
Yeah.
But if you're someone like who has a day job, right? These things don't really matter. Oh, I've seen people stress about they have to intake their protein 30 in under 30 minutes after their workout, and that is such a bunch of malarkey, right? No, the body is so robust. You should, if you just read through history, right? I've always been into history, and one thing I've concluded is that the human body is so freaking durable. You just have to take care of it a little bit, and it will take care of it itself, right?
Yeah.
So you don't have to worry about you have to take this particular brand, this particular protein, or in this time window, right? Worrying about things like BCAAs. I don't even know that is, to be honest, right? The amino acid profile or the glycemic index, right? I think that is not sustainable at all. It will only give you stress, right?
Yeah.
Unless you get paid for it. If you are a professional, by all means go ahead, right? Because you're getting paid for it, right? I stress a lot about my job. That is because my job pays me money, right? So unless you are getting paid for stressing out, don't stress out, right? Just keep it simple, keep it sustainable. Hit the gym daily, keep it consistent, and challenge the amount.
So you talked about all the things which you did in gym, in your journey to build the body. But now let's talk about what you do in the kitchen. Have your meals been similar, same, monotonous, very well researched on, simple, palatable? Everything about that, please.
Yes, so to start with, I'm not a big foodie, right? I like certain kinds of cuisine, but I don't actively seek them. So that kind of helped me with I'm just setting up the context, right? When I started out, I was very particular about my meals. So I
Mm-hmm.
used to have just one cheat day on Sunday. The rest of the days, I had regular stuff. I started taking protein powders, so protein shakes, rather early, 1 month into my gym journey. Of course, it's a journey; it evolves, right? I figured out, I was making some mistakes somewhere. So if we talk about my diet today, it's pretty simple. So I get up in the morning, I'll have a cup of tea and one or two pieces of bread, right? Toasted or with some butter.
Mm-hmm.
For lunch, I have around 200 grams of black chickpeas, right? Kala chana in Hindi. And it is one of the tastiest salads that I have because, I add a lot of tomatoes, onions, right? Some namkeen, a lot of lime. So it is actually very palatable. I would say I get like 20-25 grams of protein just from that diet, right?
Mm-hmm.
Uh, and then before going to the gym, I'll have something, anything. My pre-workout, I don't take any specific pre-workout, but I just make sure I have something. So I'll either have some bananas, any fruit. If coffee is available, I'll have some coffee. If there is nothing, and for instance it's my leg day, I will have some glucon D for that burst of energy. I come back from the gym, I have 8x, right? It started with 2x, but with time I have increased it to 8x in summers. I can have like 10x in winters in one go. And I have around 200 grams of
Sorry to interrupt.
rice.
Is when you say it started from 2x and went up till 10, is it about the appetite or like what you were consciously doing, or like what is it about?
So boiled eggs is not something that everyone enjoys. I think it has a pungent smell and everything. I used to have eggs, for a long time. I've been having eggs for a long time, but two was something when I started out, two was something I was comfortable with. With time, it increased. I started liking the taste, right? Because I make sure I add a lot of condiments to it. And at this point, I just swallow it whole. I don't even chew the eggs. I will just swallow them. So, yeah, it's a pretty quick source of protein, and it's I would say one of the highlights of my daily meal intakes, right?
Mhm.
So I think some people are repelled by the pungent smell of eggs, and rightly so. But if you just keep at it, right, increase it gradually, right? Start with one egg. You don't have to have boiled eggs only. You can go with things like omelette or egg benedict or scrambled eggs, equally good, right? 10 eggs, and then I will have 200 grams of chicken along with rice.
Every
And
day.
post workout, as soon as every day, yes. And
Okay.
as soon as I finish my workout, I will have my protein solution, which gives me around 20 grams of protein. And throughout the day, what I have incorporated for the past 2 months is I've also talked about it in one of my videos, the Amul high protein lassi or buttermilk, right? A fantastic source of protein, 15 grams of instant protein in around 25 rupees. So if I have like three tetra packs of it, I'll get around 40 to 45 grams of protein. So I'm easily hitting more than 100 grams of protein without much sacrifice. One thing I would like to emphasize here is if I feel like having a burger, I will order a burger, right? If I feel like having chop, I will have chop. So I don't have cheat meals as such. I will have whatever I want to have right now. If I'm traveling, I will not focus too much on my nutrition, too much on my protein. I just make sure that, okay, I will prefer having chicken over something else because I will get some protein out of it, right?
Mhm.
But if it's not available, I don't fret about it. So back in Europe, for breakfast, I was having croissant, right? Almost daily with a very sweetened coffee, right? I gained quite a few pounds, but that's okay, right? So that's how my diet looks like on an average. Sometimes I will have a second dinner in the night, right? So if mom has prepared dal rice, I will have that if I'm feeling hungry because I sleep at around 3 or 4, right?
Okay.
So I will need some more food at around 2 or 1. I will have that or anything that is available in the kitchen. Mangoes nowadays, I'm having a lot of mangoes. So yeah.
How important your sleep has been to you? How many hours do you sleep, and is it regularly maintained well, or there are some days when you lose out on it?
Well, I mean, sleep is something I really have to fix, like a priority item. I am someone who needs at least 7 hours of sleep, but
Mhm.
for the past few months, I have not been having more than 6 hours, and it has been so detrimental. Sleeping at 3 or 4, it's not at all, I would say, working out for me. When I'm at home, I'm not sure. I just can't sleep at 1 or 2. I started taking those melatonin gummies, but it's not sustainable. I had to give up on those. So I would say I'm not the greatest person to take any advice from on sleep, but
Mhm.
that is something I definitely see. There was a time when I was having a very deep, full 8 hours of sleep, and life was a bit better, right? So I sleep at 4 nowadays, wake up at 10, immediately start working out. It's not very healthy. It doesn't sound very healthy at least. Uh, so yeah, that is something I need to fix right now.
And now, as we were talking about diet, one more thing I wanted to ask: have you ever been totally vegetarian during these phases or any time in your life? And how does the feeling compare? Not just the, let's say, the objectively the macros, but how you feel.
I have been so I would say when I'm at home, I started having chicken for the past 2 years regularly. Like I have been having chicken since 2005. Okay,
Mhm.
but there have been times when I have been largely a vegetarian. So I would say from 2019 till 2021, I was largely a vegetarian because I came back. COVID happened. Sorry, from 2020 to 2021, right? When COVID was there, and my house is a vegetarian household, so no eggs, no chicken here. So I have been largely vegetarian. The feeling is I would say pretty equal, right? I don't miss out on anything when I'm having vegetarian meals because let's be honest. I mean, there are a lot of things that like one of my favorite items is achari chop, right? That is a vegetarian meal, right? So the feeling was pretty good. It's just that because I was already comfortable eating chicken, right? And I don't find it ethically wrong. I have this local joint who gives me a great discount if I have my meals over there daily, right? So I will go for boiled chicken with butter chicken gravy, a very nice butter chicken gravy, along with some masala rice. And I find that a very good dinner item. But in case I'm not having that, my mom will prepare some good paneer stuff for me, and I will have like 100 grams of protein. So I think it's just easier for me to like have eggs or chicken. I don't have to worry too much about. One thing I think vegetarians struggle with, which they don't have to, is uh, how do they fulfill their protein requirements, right? And they're able to. It's not like vegetarians can we have bodybuilders who are proper vegetarians. It's just that it's slightly easier when you are a meat eater, right? And take for example in Europe, right? I was largely having chicken almost every day, so I did not find it too difficult to supplement my protein requirements, right? Or when I'm traveling to Bangalore, I will have like a burrito, a chicken burrito every day, like 2 times a day, every day. And from one meal, I easily get around 30 grams of protein. So it's just easier for me to kind of sort this thing out.
And do you also look at how much fiber you are taking? Let's say the colors in the food, how much salad you add. Do you actually care about that, or you don't?
So since I have been having this black chickpea for the past 2 years and 200 grams daily, my fiber requirements are hit pretty well, right? But yes, fiber is very important. So I don't recommend anyone to have like chicken 3 times a day. Please, let's ensure that you have ample amount of fiber, either salads or some legumes, whatever, right? So fibers are, and let's be honest, the day starts pretty well. When you're having a good amount of fiber, the start to your day, if you know what I mean, it's actually pretty great compared to if you're having chicken all 3 times a day. It's not a great feeling.
Yeah, I had a friend who did an experiment with his body. He was only eating red meat and eliminated all of the other stuff whatsoever. And a few days down the line, I don't know how he felt and how he was feeling about the performance improvements or detriments, but he smelled very bad at least. So I guess your body accumulates a lot of toxins that way as well if you do not, if you only focus on getting meat or if you talk about that red meat.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, I think it's a process. You have to figure out what works for you over a long period of time. I'm sure that friend won't be eating red meat for his entire life. Maybe he's just doing an experiment, as you said. But fitness is a journey that you have to figure out what works for you, right? Black chickpeas I can digest very well, but my mom can't. I asked her to like have it for a week, and she absolutely couldn't, right? Not everyone can have eggs, right? Even if they eat meat, some people find it pungent, right? So maybe you should prepare an omelette, right? So you have to figure out your own journey. Don't try to replicate anyone else's. But yeah.
Yeah, so from what I understand, you have kept things very simple. Just hit the gym, you'll figure out what you have to do. Just look up on what you can eat, what is better, not junk, and just start with that and keep experimenting, and then it'll shape up by itself. Just be consistent and
Ex-
conscious about
exactly. Yeah. Someone asked me, I posted a story recently and someone asked me, what's your, do you track your macros, right? And many people do it. I
it.
could not find that sustainable, right? So what I do now is in every meal, I ensure that I get maximum protein and I try to minimize my carbs. That is my only metric. And I will observe my weight fortnightly or weekly, right? If my weight is going up, I will maybe, cut down on rice. I will only have chicken along with the butter chicken gravy, right? So I have, so yeah, keeping it simple. This has been pretty sustainable for me. I don't track anything at this point, how much protein I'm taking. I just try to maximize it, right? Even if I miss gym for a few days, I was talking about this, earlier in the interview. So one very important concept I would like to emphasize on right now is the concept of averages, right? So many people they stress out when they miss out a day or two at the gym, right? Or uh, not hitting their protein requirements for a day, they will stress out. Now think about it. If you're doing something over a period of 10 years, 15 years, right? These small variations don't matter at all, right? For example, take the stock market, right? If you are a value investor, you don't care about if the stock goes up or down daily, right? You care about whether it goes up in a period of 5 years or 10 years, right? So the concept, and that is why your split does not matter to a large extent as well. If you're training a muscle once a week versus twice a week, over a long period of time, it's the same thing, right? So
Yeah.
don't fret too much about variations. Take that vacation off. If you want to take a 1 month off from the gym, please do that. Trust me, it does not matter. Just make sure you come back to the gym with the same energy and you will be set. So don't stress about your fitness journey should be a source of positive energy for you. It should not give you stress, right? If it is becoming a source of stress for you, you need to maybe reevaluate and figure some things out.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, that gives our audience and myself also a very good picture of how to get into it and how to keep it sustainable and stuff and be happy while doing that. These, I
Yes.
guess, this sums up pretty much what you have to advise everyone here who's watching you. Um, if we talk about the near future, do you have some goals in mind, and not just the body building stuff? Anything else? Like, what do you have in mind in, let's say, coming 2, 3 years, or yeah, what's the immediate goals
So
for you?
so definitely professionally, so right now I'm a software engineer, and I'm pretty happy with how things are going in my career. But I have had some ideas on which I'm working right now with my friends, and also one more project by myself. So I would like to start something of my own in the next few years, right? Mostly in the software field. Professionally, then on a personal level, yeah, it's been not it's not been an easy journey,
Mhm.
finding the right partner. It has always been kind of I would say that is pretty high on my priority list right now on a professional level, right? I used to be an introverted person, but now I really feel the need to share these moments with someone. So that is work in progress. Hopefully, we hear some good news about it. Uh,
Uh,
and and yeah, yeah. Please,
Yeah,
you wanted to say something?
it better be the news that I could attend your wedding or stuff, but not the good news before that.
No, definitely. Yeah. And I guess I just my I think all of us are going through it. Our parents are growing old, so I want to sort those things out. Get their medical insurance in place.
Right.
I'm trying to get my mom and dad into the gym. My mom actually hit the gym for 2 weeks, but
Oh,
she
nice.
couldn't because it's so damn hot in NCR. Right? She just couldn't continue. So I think so yeah, just know and short-term goals is I'm a hedonist right now. A hedonist is someone who seeks pleasure actively. So I've gotten into this techno, and I'm liking partying and all with my friends. So these are my only short-term goals. I haven't planned too far ahead into the future. But yeah, just I guess for me it works when I only have short-term goals, just baby steps. Yeah.
Um, as you talked about hedonism and pleasure deriving traits of people, I have one thing which pops in my mind. How would you weigh these things? Let's say having some uh, substances, for example, alcohol, smoking, or other kind of what's the word for it, which I can use here. I mean, recreational substances, which people might be thinking might be natural, might be man-made, and add to it the sexual pleasures as well. Like how does what is the combined effect of these on the body? Have you ever tried going completely off them and seeing if there's a difference? How do you balance them, or you really don't care and go about as you feel? So something on that, please.
Yeah, so as a hedonist, right, I honestly don't really care about these things. So if I don't, I never feel like guilty about having too much pleasure, right? So whether it be clubbing or experimenting with things, right, vacationing, right, or any other pleasures that you mentioned, uh, I don't really stress about them. I think one of the it's good to, like, people have their own philosophies around these things. Some people want to really have that self restraint, which I'm pretty bad at. I think one thing that kind of helps is uh, even if I'm doing something too much, right? If I don't stress about it, it does
Mhm.
not become a source of negative energy for me, right? I know I have to reduce it, but I will not act. I won't let it give me stress actively, right? So, for instance, I have had, you know, anything. If you're smoking, right, you know that smoking is bad for you, and you have to get rid of it, right? But if you're taking stress about it daily, then it becomes detrimental. Or something, if I may call say, abstination, whatever, celibacy, right?
Mhm.
I think people stress too much about these things, right? What's the maximum number of time I should do it per day, right? Even if you're doing it 10 times, it's okay, as long as it is not giving you stress on, then it becomes detrimental, right? So this is a philosophy that has worked for me. I'm
Mhm.
not sure how, as I kind of settle in my life, how much will this work, but
Mhm.
right now it's working pretty well. So what I do, how I do it, I don't really care. uh, I don't really have a very strong set of moral, ethical compass, right? So I don't really think too much about doing things. So not the most ethical person out there, but
Does
yeah,
it come from
as
being
an
from Ghaziabad?
well, some of it, yeah, definitely.
Some of it.
Yep. So right now I'm really enjoying this phase of my life in which I am just not thinking too much about things. It's working out. Let's see how far it works out. Yeah.
Yeah, sounds good. You've kept it simple. I like it about that. I'm yeah,
Yeah.
thinking on the same lines. Yeah.
Yep. Yep. Whatever
So
works for you. I think that's the key. If experimenting works for you, please go ahead and do it as long as you are happy. I think the bottom line is, are you happy, and are you spreading happiness? As long as those two check marks are there, I think you are sorted.
yeah. Yeah, sounds good. So I've pretty much exhausted all the questions which I was curious about. If people want to know something, they can comment down below when this video is going to be up, and I'll try my best to include Prashant in it, so all of them are answered. So to wrap it up, do you have something to say? Maybe an advice or anything, or how you feel about it, or yeah, how was the chat?
Well, yeah, I mean, it was an absolute pleasure talking to you formally, Abhinav. Right? I think
Formally,
we have
Abhinav.
had too many informal conversations, but this was for sure something very fresh. No advices. It's just that, as I said, if you're happy with how your life is going right now, things are pretty well. Life, to a large extent, is pointless. I think we are largely ordinary people, right? It's okay being ordinary, not being extraordinary. This is something I used to really stress about before, but I have made my peace with it, and uh, it has paid off not only in terms of that I'm happy, right? Also in my career, my relationships, they have improved substantially. So you really need to let go of some things. Just try to live in the moment right now, not chase numbers. Everyone's position is different. So I was maybe in a unique position. We have like our friend group, we got our careers sorted on pretty early, right? So some people are still preparing for examinations, so it might not work for them. But at some point in your life, you really need to think that it's time to enjoy life for what it is. We don't know what happens tomorrow, cliche as it may sound. So yeah, life largely is pointless. So do things, be happy, spread happiness, and work on your relationships, work on yourself, earn money. Yeah, go on vacations. Just have some pleasure in life. That's very important.
Yeah, that's
Date, yeah, date. That's important.
date. That's about it. Yeah.
Most, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
it
See,
is.
see, whatever. Yeah,
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 you
that's
can be
crucial.
very specific because there are people. All right, all
Yeah,
right.
no names, no names. But yeah, it was an absolute pleasure interviewing with you. And hopefully we get a chance to talk again. Yeah,
Yeah, has been a pleasure. Thanks a lot for your valuable time, and hope we meet soon in Europe again.
yeah. Let's see. Yeah,
Yeah.
Oktoberfest it is. Yeah. All right.
Yeah.
See you around. No? Bye.
Yeah. See you. Enjoy your weekend. Bye.
Thanks.